In this video podcast, I want to talk about solar panels. There is so much confusion about solar panels and whether they convey with the property when there is a purchase. Solar panels are personal property items. Just because they are attached to the roof does not make them part of the real property. And solar panels are not listed under paragraph 2B of your contract, which lists particular items that do convey if they are permanently installed and built in. So unless solar panels are added to the contract under a non-realty items addendum, they do not convey with the property. Here is the recurring issue. Seller thinks the solar panels remain with the property when they sell. And if seller owns the solar panels, then the seller does have the right to give them to the buyer, but the buyer does not have to agree to accept them. And if the buyer doesn't accept them, seller must remove all personal property items prior to giving possession. But if the seller has leased the solar panels, seller cannot just give them to the buyer. The buyer would have to assume the obligations of seller under the lease. And most leases require buyer to sign an assumption agreement. One agent told me the other day that the buyer was told that the solar panel company had filed something in title to make the leased solar panels part of the real property to be conveyed, and therefore buyer had no choice but to assume the obligations under the lease. That is not actually what happens. The solar panel company files a UCC security interest or lien against the solar panels, which is like a mortgage against the real property, but it is against the personal property, the solar panels. The UCC filing will show up in the title records, but it will be handled like any other mortgage against the property. The title company will contact the creditor, and in this case, the solar panel company, to get a release of the UCC before closing. And if buyer does not want to assume those obligations of the lease, the seller will either have to pay an early termination fee for the lease or come to some agreement to move the panels to another location. The UCC will be treated like any other indebtedness owed against the property before closing, and the title company will not be able to close until it is able to obtain a release from that indebtedness. Under paragraph 9B4 of the contract, seller covenants that there will be no liens, assessments, or security interests against the property which will not be satisfied out of the sales proceeds unless securing any loans assumed by buyer. Sellers need to understand when they sign a lease for the solar panels, they are obligated to the terms of the lease and cannot just pass those obligations on to the buyer. And buyer needs to understand the terms of the lease before they agree to assume it. I hope this brings clarity to the issue. If you would like me to discuss other topics on these video podcasts, please email me at tipoftheweek@allegiancetitle.com. We are your trusted resource for results.